Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk, back again with another card for you, and this time it's one using some die cuts and embossing that's great for using up any scraps of card that you happen to have. So I'm using the Colourful Seasons Seasonal Layers Thinlits, which has this beautiful skeleton leaf in it as well as lots of other leaves, along with the woodland embossing folder here. The card itself is pretty simple. On the front you can see some embossed panels, but when you open it up you've got some dangling leaves as well, which I just thought was a pretty way to just add a little bit more interest, and when that's obviously standing up, it's you can see some leaves as well. So that's what we're going to do today. I've already die cut the leaves. There's a very straightforward. Just make a sandwich with your relevant pieces of cardstock, and I've used some Always Artichoke. I've used some Cajun Craze and some Perfect Plum as well. And they were just scraps that I happened to have of kind of various kind of colours. I've poked out most of the little bits there, but I haven't worried about if there are any in there left in, because to be honest with you, you know, when you get a skeleton leaf, it hasn't always got all the bits out. So that's what we're going to do. So I've done 2 in each colour, and our card base is very straightforward. It's 5.5 inches by 8.25 inches. So that's standard UK width cardstock, and I'm just going to score that at 4 1/8. Just to make an ordinary card base, as you can see there. I've then cut a piece of very vanilla cardstock, which I'm just trimming to 8 inches, and that's by 1 1/4 inches. And we're going to score that at 1 1/2, at 4 inches, and at 6.5 inches, like so. Our other piece of cardstock, you want a piece that is 4.5 by 3 3/4. So I'm just going to trim that to 4.5 by 3 3/4. And what I'm actually going to do is cut that into pieces first. The reason for that is if you try and cut cardstock on your trimmer after you've embossed it, you could snag it. So I'm just cutting 3 pieces that are 1 1/2 inches. So we've got 3 pieces there. It makes it very slightly trickier for the embossing folder, but you know, nothing that worries. So decide whether you want it embossed or debossed, and then pop your 3 pieces of card in, and you're going to want to put those so that they are actually sit together, like so. Fold up your embossing folder, keeping it nice and tight, and then pop that through your embossing machine or die cutting machine. And then when they come back, you've got 3 pieces here which pretty much line up. As I say, if you end up with a little gap, it really doesn't matter too much at all. Then to create the front of the card, I'm actually going to, the original one I put on dimensionals, but I don't think it really needs it, and I think if anything it makes the card better without it. You just get the texture. So making sure that I do the top and the bottom panel first, and bringing that in. And I'm not going to press too hard, I just want to make sure I've got a reasonable gap. Just drop that down just very slightly. And then pop your middle panel in. I'm using fuse just because it happened to be on my desk, so you must make sure that middle panel is in the middle. And then once you've done that, to attach the leaves, I'm actually not going to use fine tip glue or anything. I'm just going to use a glue dot, which happens to go in that lovely little spot in the centre of the leaf. And this way, what you actually get is the leaf kind of stands proud. It has a little bit more sort of movement than if you were just to lay it flat. So So that's the front, and I've deliberately just twisted those around so you get the kind of effect of them almost sort of falling as they come down the card. Then we go to the inside of our card, and with our panel that we've already cut, we're going to attach our leaves. Now whatever you can use, I'm using some of the really thin twine that we had a little while ago. And you could use that, you could use baker's twine or use some of the invisible sewing thread, works just as well. I'm just cutting sort of 3 lengths that are about sort of round about 8 inches. Just a useful tip when you're using these fine threads, just pop a piece of tape on the top to hold it in place. And all I'm going to do is thread some of this thread through from the back. I'm going to come from the back and then through the front of the leaf, and just double that over at the top. Do the same on the other 2 leaves as well. So again, just coming from the back and through there. And then I'm going to put the leaves face down and just space them out very slightly. Now the next step actually is I'm going to use washi tape just to hold them in place, and then pop a couple of pieces of card just to neaten it off, which I forgot to do on my original sample. So there's the leaf. So what you can do is once you've got those in place, just take a little bit of washi tape for each of them and pop it in place. And the beauty of that is that you can kind of line it up so that they hang at different lengths as well. And I put one sort of nearish the centre, just to one side. Like so. So those are our leaves. I'm going to come and just trim off that excess thread. I don't want that poking out. And then I'm just going to trim a small piece, when I can find it, of berry vanilla that I've got here. So this is about 3/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to cut a piece for one side and a piece the other side. Just attach that, and it's really just to kind of neaten up that inner piece. Just makes it so that when the card is open you don't see that washi tape. Like so. So those are our sort of dangly bits. Now, when you put this inside the card, obviously first of all you want to make sure you've got your card the right way up. And when you put the glue on, you're going to put it on these 2 panels. And what I'm actually going to do is pop that just to one side and just below that centre mark, and the same on the other side. And it will still fold flat, but what you've got is it means it just gives a bit of a 3D effect. And there's your card finished. So, pretty card for any occasion. You could just add a sentiment either to the inside or to the front, but it uses up any scraps you've got of coloured card, but keeping a nice neutral base as well. So hopefully you can see that and hopefully enjoy, and come back and see me again soon. If you'd like any of the products that I've demonstrated today, pop along to my Stampin' Up shop, heidismith.stampinup.net, or pop along to my blog flutterbyheidi.co.uk for more information and dimensions. Thanks for watching. Bye.